What's up, gamers? Hope you guys are all having a great day today, just full of so much positivity and happiness, dude, because in all honesty, coming out of the Xbox showcase, I feel like overall it was a positive gaming experience for all, man. I think if you're an Xbox fan, they showed some pretty decent stuff, had some good announcements. You know, the games that they did show, like gameplay snippets for, I thought looked pretty solid and interesting. The Starfield demo at the end, honestly, like, was very in-depth and well done. I feel like if you're excited for Starfield, you're probably even more excited after watching that. But anyway, what I want to do is just go through, like, I guess game by game that was announced and just kind of touch on everything that was shown off at the conference, talk about what I liked, didn't like, and just overall give my thoughts on this entire thing. So starting off with probably the highlight of the show for me, which was the actual, I guess, like gameplay reveal of Avowed. Like, this game looks really fucking good. I was hoping when it was announced 3 years ago that it was basically going to be Obsidian's version of Skyrim, and after watching this trailer, I think that's 100% the case. The game looks absolutely incredible. I'm personally very much excited for it. I think this is probably the most exciting game that Xbox has announced currently, or that's upcoming, and overall, I thought this was a really well done trailer. I wished more of their trailers would have followed suit with this type of style, which unfortunately they did not, but I think overall, man, Avowed is something definitely to look forward to if you're an Xbox fan, and I think it was definitely the highlight of the show, and overall very excited to get my hands on that next year. So next up, we saw Inexile's new game, Clockwork Revolution, which when I first saw this, immediately it made me think of BioShock Infinite, which looks really cool. I think the setting looks really interesting. Overall, it looks like your choices have an impact on how the world progresses throughout the game, and honestly, man, I think it looks interesting. You know, they had like actual gameplay snippets in there to make up the trailer, which is always a big positive because you actually get a feel for what the game actually looks like, and honestly, man, this is definitely one I'll be checking out. I mean, shit, you get it free in Game Pass anyway. We didn't even get a release year on this one, so it's probably a ways out at this point, so I wouldn't really, you know, get too excited about this one quite yet, but honestly, it is something to kind of keep in mind, like, hey, this is coming, and overall, it looks pretty interesting, man. Not really too much I can say about it, though, but overall, pretty cool looking game for all intents and purposes. So moving on, we have Fable, which is how they opened up the show, and this to me was the biggest disappointment. Like, am I alone, or is this trailer worse than the one we got 3 years ago? Like, I have more questions about what the fuck is Fable at this point than I did when we got the initial teaser back in, what, 2020 at this point? So, I don't know. I think this trailer was a major miss, in all honesty. I have zero idea what the hell is going on. Is it a game where you play as someone who's like miniature? Is it a game that's set in like semi-modern times? Is it still a fantasy title? Like, I don't know. I walked away from this Fable trailer very disappointed. It's a bunch of CGI nonsense that gives you zero fucking feel of what the game is actually going to be like, and I think this was a huge missed opportunity. I wish they would have done kind of like what Avowed did or Inexile did with their new game and actually have like real gameplay in it to give you a feel for what the game looks and plays like, but they just straight up didn't do that. I think this was a major missed opportunity, especially after being announced 3 years ago at this point, and we just got another CGI logo flash trailer. So I would have liked to see a lot more from Fable, because Fable is one of the games that I personally was really looking forward to and wanted to see actual gameplay of this time around, but unfortunately we did not get that. So hopefully we'll see something soon, but that was kind of disappointing. The next up, we have Forza Motorsport, which, I mean, it's Forza, man. If you like Forza, you like Forza. If you like racing games, you probably like Forza. I don't really think there's much to touch on here. I'm glad they didn't have another drawn out like 10-minute gameplay explanation of, you know, ray tracing on the hubcaps and shit like that. So I'm glad they kept it brief. Personally, I would have rather not seen anything Forza related. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. It's like when EA used to show off FIFA gameplay like demos, and it's like, who the fuck cares? You're kicking a soccer ball every single year. It's not really anything new, and I feel like racing games without some sort of gimmick fall into that category as well, and they just don't show very well, but they kept this brief to the point and moved on. So hey man, it's Forza. If you like Forza, you're gonna love this game most likely. Graphics look incredible, and it's probably the best racing franchise out there at the moment. The next up, we saw Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which is kind of weird. They're making a sequel to this game instead of just updating it, but they're putting out a new flight simulator in 2024, and I'm guessing it's going to become like a semi-annual franchise or something like that. I have no idea. If you like flight simulator, you'll probably like this one. Then we move on to Hellblade 2. We did not see anything here that we didn't already see previously. In fact, we saw even less. It was literally just one cinematic sequence. We saw more a couple years ago back at the Game Awards, I think it was, for Hellblade 2 than we did today, which is not very good in my opinion. Personally, I did not care for the original Hellblade game. It is the definition of a walking simulator. So for all the Xbox fanboys out there that love to shit on PlayStation games for being walking simulators, all I can say is you motherfuckers better be able to
keep that same energy
when it comes to this game. But honestly, we saw nothing new here. We saw even less this time around with Hellblade 2, and it is coming in 2024, so any rumors that it would be coming at the end of this year were completely fucking wrong, as usual. But yeah, overall, I don't think this was that impressive to look at. Then we got South of Midnight, which I think was the game that followed up Fable during the actual showcase. I'm looking at their blog post and they have everything out of order, so apologies. But South of Midnight, it's another in-engine logo flash trailer that gave you no idea of what the actual game was going to be like. I actually had to read the blog post from Microsoft and found out that it's a spellbinding third-person action-adventure game set in the American Deep South. I would have never guessed that shit from watching that trailer. I had no idea what the fuck was going on, didn't even know what genre this game was going to fall into, and the fact that I had to read a Microsoft blog post to figure out what genre this game was even in the first place is not a great sign in my opinion. This was a huge miss in my opinion. Definitely has a artistic art style, let's say, and I think it would have been cool to actually get a feel of what the game actually looks and plays like, but we did not get that. It was one of those in-engine CGI logo flash trailers that gave you zero idea of what to actually expect, so that was another big miss in my opinion, but I guess it's good to know that Compulsion Games is actually working on a video game, so that's cool. Then we got the Starfield Direct, which, I mean, that was really well done. If you're excited for Starfield, walking away from that Starfield Direct, I feel like you're probably even more excited. It looks like Fallout in space, which is exactly what I was expecting and what I was hoping for. The gunplay looks like it's actually improved quite a bit, and something of note that I noticed is the footage was definitely in sub 30 FPS, so for all the fucking Xbox fanboy channels out there peddling the fucking bullshit that the Xbox Advanced Technology team has been deployed to Bethesda Game Studios to get the game running at a consistent 60 frames per second with literally no fucking frame drops and beautiful graphics, yeah, you can fucking shut the fuck up, man. I'm so sick of these motherfuckers pushing this narrative that, a Bethesda game is not gonna launch buggy and broken at launch. Everybody knows, if you've ever played a Bethesda game at launch, this game is gonna have issues, it's not gonna perform well, the graphics are not gonna be that great. It's a Bethesda game. Know what you're getting into, and that's not even a bad thing, because despite the fact that Bethesda games do not look and perform the best, they're still incredibly fun, and I'm probably gonna sink a shit ton of time into Starfield, and honestly, I really liked what I saw. But just shout out to all the fucking fanboys out there who are pushing this narrative that somehow the Xbox Advanced Technology team was gonna completely overhaul this game, getting it running at a consistent 60 FPS, and make it look like an absolute graphical showpiece. It's just dude, I don't know what fucking deluded reality they're living in, but obviously that did not pan out. But overall, man, I think Starfield looks great. Definitely something to get excited for, and I will definitely be trying that shit out day one in September when it comes out, so very excited for that. Then they showed off Towerborne, which honestly, that looked kind of interesting to me. It looks like one of the games I'd want to play on my Steam Deck or Nintendo Switch. I mean, not really too much to say on it. I kind of want to see more actual gameplay of it, but I thought it looked interesting to say the least. So moving on, we go to the third-party games, and the first they showed was 33 Immortals, which I guess it looks like Hades or that Vampire Survivor game. I don't know, it looks fine. Not really too much to say on it, though. Then they showed off City Skylines 2, which looks really good, man. That's the type of game that if I started playing, I probably would not be able to put down, just because I would become autistically obsessed with it. But overall, I thought it looked pretty solid. I know a lot of people are big fans of City Skylines, so big ups that was there. I'm sure a lot of people are excited for that announcement. Then they showed off Dungeons of Hinterberg, which looked like absolute shit, man. I know they're going for this artistic art style or whatever, but the performance looked like shit, the animation looked like shit. Overall, the game looked like absolute fucking garbage. So moving on from that, then we saw Jassant, which is a climbing simulator from the developers of Life is Strange. This is going to be a hard pass for me. I know there's probably people out there that like the style of kind of chill games, so I guess if you're interested interested in it, that's cool. The art style did look pretty good in my opinion. I thought graphically it was nice to look at, but overall the gameplay loop just looks really boring and generic, and it's definitely not one of the fucking highlights of the show, that's for sure, man. I don't think anybody's rushing out to go and buy an Xbox to look at this game. Then we got Yakuza 8, which looked really fucking funny. That was a great trailer. I thought that trailer was pretty solid. Definitely one of the better moments of the overall conference. So I think that was a pretty memorable trailer to say the least. But yeah, I mean, Yakuza coming to Xbox, pretty cool. I don't know if this one's coming to Game Pass. I think all the other Yakuza games are in Game Pass, but I don't know if they said this one was coming. I'm looking right now. I don't think it is, but that's cool that it's launching on Xbox this time around. So very nice, man. No, there's a lot of Yakuza fans out there, so I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to that one. Then we saw Metaphor ReFantazio marks the first oh wait, fuck. I'm reading the fucking titles. I'm sorry, guys. So Metaphor ReFantazio is the name of this game. It's from the Persona devs, so I guess if you like Persona, you have something to look forward to. This is a hard pass for me. Honestly, I don't really care about this style of game that much at all, but hey man, if you're excited for it, more power to you. I guess it's cool that more Japanese developers are premiering games at the Xbox showcase, so cool that Xbox is finally getting support from a lot of Japanese developers. Then we saw Kunetsugami Path of the Goddess from Capcom, which, bro, I'm gonna just be honest, Capcom has not missed in like the past 6 years. Like every game they put out seems to just be consistently fucking fire, so I'll give this one a shot. It's coming day and date to Game Pass, so why the fuck not try it out? I think it looks interesting. It looks like a fast-paced action game, which is right up my style, and honestly, I think it looks pretty good. Like, I'm looking forward to that one. I think it's cool it's coming to Game Pass. Definitely a big W in my book. Then after that, we got Payday 3, which that game looks great. Payday is always a franchise I've wanted to get into, but you know, I don't have any friends, so I can't play with anybody, so RIP that one. But yeah, I know a lot of big fans of Payday out there, so they're probably very excited for this. It looks good, looks fun, and honestly, pretty cool to see. Then we got Persona 3 Reload, which if you like Persona, you'll like this. Don't really think there's much to say on that one. Persona 5 Tactica. This game looked like trash, man. Okay, Persona 5 has such a unique and I guess cool looking art style in all reality. I don't personally care for Persona, but the art style is pretty nice in all honesty. Like, I love their use of colors, like with the red and the white and black. I think it looks really cool visually, but they literally took that unique art style and made it look like shit. Like, what was the point of making this game look like a literal fucking mobile game when you already have this really cool, like, anime 3D art style that you could have taken from? So, I mean, I guess maybe people are interested in this, but honestly, I thought this was a huge visual downgrade from the other Persona 5 games out there at this point, but hey, I guess people are excited for this one. I thought that was one of the low points of the show. It looked like absolute garbage in my opinion. Then we saw Star Wars Outlaws from Ubisoft, which it was a cinematic, all CGI trailer with zero fucking gameplay whatsoever, zero idea of what the game is actually going to be like, and overall, man, I would not hold your breath for this one. I would not get your hopes up. Ubisoft and quality standards do not go hand in hand, and on top of that, they are infamous for graphical downgrades, so I highly fucking doubt the game is going to look that good when it comes out. This was basically a non-existent game in my opinion, because until I see actual gameplay from Ubisoft, their games might as well not even fucking exist, because how many games does Ubisoft have in the back burner that they've announced years ago that have never seen the light of day? So honestly, I think this was just pretty mid in my opinion. Then we saw the Still Wakes the Deep, which is a walking simulator, it looks like, on a oil rig. Not really too much to say on that one. Pretty boring in my opinion. Then we got probably, I think, the worst announcement of the showcase, which I really question what was going through their minds on this one, because this is a really questionable decision in my book, because they announced the new Xbox Series S in carbon black, the 1 terabyte model, for $350, man. Now keep in mind, at the time of recording this video, you can actually get a brand new Xbox Series S from Best Buy for $240 and a 1 terabyte expansion card for about $80. So all in $320, you're getting a 1.5 terabyte Xbox Series S brand new. So this is a very questionable price point in my opinion. If anything, this should have come in at the $299 price point and maybe dropped the price of the base Series S down to like $275 or $270 or something like that, because you're in a situation now where the Series S 1 terabyte model is $50 less than a PlayStation PlayStation 5 Digital. So for $50 more, why wouldn't you just go ahead and spend that extra $50 and get a true next generation gaming console? Because let's keep it a buck 50, guys. Like, the Xbox Series S and the PlayStation 5 are in different fucking stratospheres when it comes to graphical performance. So I think this is a very questionable pricing decision. I think it would have been better if they would have just announced an Xbox Series X Digital where it was $400, no disc drive, and that would be the price point to come in at. A $350 Xbox Series S just makes zero fucking sense to me at this point, especially with the expansion pack storage prices coming down recently. So this, I think, was a major L. It's basically like a black tax, bro. Like, you got to pay the extra $50 to get a black console, essentially. And I think this was a huge miss. I think this is probably the L of the show, in my opinion, and yeah, huge missed opportunity. But then we saw some Starfield limited edition controllers and headsets. I have nothing to say about that. Buy them if you want. We got a glimpse at the Cyberpunk DLC, which was pretty cool. I know a lot of people are probably excited about that one. Elder Scrolls Online Necrom expansion, which I wish we would have seen Elder Scrolls 6, but that's probably years away still, especially with Starfield just coming out. And then we saw Fallout 76 Road to Atlantic City. I guess people still play Fallout 76. We saw a Dune, I guess, crossover for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I guess that'll be cool for 20 minutes. Cool little movie tie-in. Then we saw the supposedly non-existent PvE mode of Overwatch 2, which everyone's favorite gaming outrage brokers on the internet could have swore was completely canceled by Blizzard, but if they actually read the fucking blog post that they were bitching and moaning about, they would know that only character progression was removed, and the PvE modes were still coming to the game. Imagine that, man. Gaming YouTubers rushing to milk some fucking fresh outrage. But yeah, I guess that's cool. I don't know. I really don't play Overwatch 2 at all anymore. Then we saw a Sea of Thieves Monkey Island crossover. Yay, dude. I would have much rather seen Everwild from Rare, but if you're a fan of Sea of Thieves, I guess that's something to look forward to. And that is everything that was shown at the Xbox showcase. I tried to go through this as quickly as possible. This was all done in one take, by the way, guys. So if I sound like a bumbling retard, that's because that's exactly what I am right now, and my mouth is like fucking drier than, you know, Xbox's games lineup for the past 3 years. But anyway, overall, I thought this was a really fucking good showcase from the perspective of Xbox showcases in recent memory. This is definitely the highlight of the past 3 to 4 years, 100%. This was 100 times better than that fucking horrific PlayStation showcase we just watched, and it was definitely better than Summer Games Fest. So overall, I would give this about a 6.5, a 7 out of 10-ish area. I think overall Microsoft did deliver. There's some key areas I really wish they would have hit on. Again, Fable not having gameplay and having another cinematic trailer was a major missed opportunity in my opinion, especially when we got to see what Avowed looked like, because that really just put it into perspective of like, hey, we could have gotten something like this for Fable, but we didn't. We got another cinematic trailer, which to me was not very satisfying. I would have loved to see what the Coalition was working on. I would have loved to see what id Software or Machine Games is working on. id Software, it's been 3 years since the last Doom game. They definitely should have something ready to show at this point. Machine Games is apparently working on that Indiana Jones game that we have heard absolutely fucking nothing from. You know, there was the rumor that ZeniMax Online was going to show their new game. That wasn't there. Again, Rare should have shown Everwild. That would have been cool to see. I think that game actually looks pretty interesting. Maybe 343 could have given an update on the state of Halo Infinite. That could have been good. But overall, man, I feel like they really didn't hammer it home. If they would have really just came and blown their fucking wad of like new game announcements, I think that would have been for the best, because the issue with Xbox is you don't really have too much to look forward to in the future. And I feel like they mitigated that a little bit with like Inexile and Compulsion's game announcements, but Compulsion didn't even tell you what the genre of the game was from the trailer. And Inexile actually did a pretty good job, but there's no actual release year attached to that, so who knows when the fuck we're actually going to get it. So I think they attacked the issue that Xbox has as a platform pretty well, but they could have done a lot more in my opinion. But overall, I think the showcase was pretty solid. Definitely one of their better ones in recent memory, and overall, definitely the showcase of the year. I know that's not a very high bar, but in all honesty, I didn't get bored. I didn't feel like it was dragging on forever and ever. It was interesting content. I'm glad they actually showed some gameplay. It wasn't all just logo flash trailers, but again, going back to those areas I wish they would have like touched more on. I think that would have really driven this shit home, because if we would have seen something from the Coalition, gotten an update on Everwild, got something on Perfect Dark, I forgot about that, and like some of those other games and studios that are working on projects, it really could have just driven this shit home that Xbox has a vision for the future and you have shit to look forward to as an Xbox owner. I think they did a decent job at that, but they definitely could have done better. But overall, man, 7 out of 10 I think is what I'm sticking with. I enjoyed it. I did not get bored, and that is very fucking rare these days when it comes to gaming showcases. So let me know your thoughts on this shit in the comment section below. Did you enjoy it? What was your final score for the showcase? And with all that shit said, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like on it. I would greatly appreciate it, and I will catch you guys next time.